got the sun coming up. I'm heading up to Deer Creek State Park in Utah. Gonna do some shore fishing for some trout. 30 degrees on the car temperature gauge. Hopefully it'll warm up a little bit. All right, we made it to the mouth of the canyon, Provo Canyon. It's a beautiful canyon. We've never been up this way. Provo River runs through this canyon, and the Provo River is what is dammed to make the Deer Creek Reservoir, which is where we're going to be fishing. So you can see there part of the Provo River, and there are designated turnouts on the road, so if you wanted to fish the river, you can do that pretty easily. Here's one of those turnoffs. Stairs going down to fish the river. Kind of surprised there's not a lot of fishermen already out there. Oh, here we go. Here's another turnoff. You can see all the cars here. It's the day after Thanksgiving, so I figured there are going to be lots of people on the river. I'll have to do a video of the river another day. Temperature showing 22 degrees. So it's gotten colder as we've come up. Started around 31. We kind of crested up here. You'll see the reservoir. There is another entrance further down this road. You can kind of see the Wallsburg Arm, that's what that's called. You can see some of the camping there. I've got my own state parks pass, so I've already paid. So normally when I fish with my boat, I would just keep going straight on this road, but I'm gonna turn left up here. It's called Sailboat Beach. Amazing view of Mount Timpanogos with all the snow. All right, well, it said it was 19 degrees. You can see the sun is starting to come up. I'm sure it'll start to warm up pretty quick here. And you know what? I forgot to grab the worms. Better go back to the truck. The drop-off was a little steep the other day. I actually almost fell in. Try to keep it a little safer this time. Yeah, I think that's the rock I used. Okay, so for those of you who haven't fished for trout before with like power bait, the items that you kind of need are a fishing pole, some line, and then typically these type of 3 items. There's different ways to do it, but you need a sinker that you can run the line through, a hook, and some sort of swivel. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do. You take the line, you put it through that weight, then the line will come through on this side, and you tie it to this part of the swivel. Then this piece of line I'm going to cut, and it varies. You can do 2 feet of line, 3 feet of line. When I was here the other day, I did 4 feet of line. And that's called the drop. That's how long, because the power bait's going to go on this hook. You'll tie one end of the drop line to this side of the swivel, one end to the hook. When you put the power bait around the hook, the power bait floats. It'll float up, and the weight will keep the rest of the line down. So that floating power bait is what the fish sees and eats. So let me tie this up, and then I'll show you. So now you can see that I've got the end of the pole with this sinker. That sinker goes up to that swivel like that, and then from the swivel end I've got about 3 or 4 feet until I get to the hook. Now I'm going to take some power bait, so this bright orange power bait, and what you do is you pinch off some like that. It might be a little too much, and you can roll it into a ball like this, and then on the hook end you can put the power bait around the hook, and you kind of cover everything up. And so this power bait floats, and the line will be held down by that sinker. And you want this to float, you know, 3, maybe 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet off the bottom. All right, let's cast this guy out. And hopefully you saw how far that went, and you then let it sink to the bottom and you tighten up the line. And then you wait for the fish. So we've got a trout here. So this is on that power bait. That's a nice trout. Here's a nice rainbow. That's a good one. That's a nice rainbow right there. That was with the power bait. I'm gonna keep that guy with the stringer here that I got. Yep, he wants to swim away. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna make sure that this is secure around a rock here. So hopefully you can see that fish has found its way up. He's swimming upright. He's on the stringer. So I'm gonna try to keep him alive as long as I can, keep him fresh, cook him up for dinner tonight. Okay, so now I'm just putting more power bait on that hook. See if I can throw it out there and get me another trout. Okay. So let's cast that thing out there. Let it go down. There's the trout, figuring things out. So he's still upright, swimming. Okay. Gonna kind of let some line out here. Okay, and then once the line goes slack, I just kind of reel it up a little bit so it's just a little tight on the end of the line. It's easier then to see a bite. The line's a little too slack, so I just kind of pull it up, tighten it up a little bit. There, and if we get a bite, you'll see the end of the pole kind of tip down, and then you know to reel in. It's as easy as that. So here's another one on this power bait. Feels pretty small. Might be swimming right towards me though. Oh, there we go. Now he's feeling bigger. Yeah. That one is pretty and big. Looking, whoa. He went right in. He's gonna take my pole if I'm not careful. Trying to get him on the camera for you guys. It's a beautiful fish, right? There's another nice rainbow trout. That's a nice rainbow trout right there. Nice. We'll keep him. Okay, so I got myself another trout here. Did a little different technique on this one. I'll show you after we bring this one in. I was seeing some action on the top, and so I thought maybe I shouldn't be so deep in the water with the weight on the bottom, and so I did something that brought the bait up a little bit further in the water column. So there's our trout. Then I'll show you the setup that I did. Nice little rainbow trout. We'll add to the collection so I can feed the family dinner tonight. So I noticed some fish on the top. I saw swirls, looked like they were swiping at flies, which told me, okay, maybe not all the fish are on the very bottom, which is where this white pole is. We've caught two on the bottom, right, with the bait floating 3 or 4 feet off the bottom. But what if the fish are, you know, just 5 feet under the surface, which I was noticing some surface activity. So I use what's called a bubble. The line goes through the bubble. You can maybe see that there's a hole there, and the line goes through there, and you tie another swivel so the bubble can't go past it. And then on the other end of the line, you know, about 4 or 5 feet, maybe 4 feet, I tied a little weighted hook. Now you can see that it's weighted. So let me clean that off a little. You can see that it's a little weighted hook. There's a little weight on the head and then the hook. And then you tie that to it. And then I just put power bait around that, And so the weight would bring it down a little bit, but it would bring it down no deeper than where the bubble is. The bubble stays on top because there's air and some water in it, and it floats on top. So that's one way. If you notice some top activity, you could put power bait on a little hook like this, and it'll just be sinking slightly lower than the surface of the water. Whereas this other line that we've caught 2 trout on is going to the bottom, the weight goes to the bottom, and the power bait floats up just a little bit off the bottom. So we've caught some fish off the bottom. Now we caught a fish that was further closer to the top or the surface of the water. So lots of ways to do it.
He's going upriver.
You gotta set your drag tight. There he is. I'm recording it. He does not want to come this way.
Oh, he's coming this way anyhow.
You want the net?
Yeah, I'm gonna get it. Put him up on bait, maybe.
That's a good one.
I know.
He swam right into the net.
That's a smart fish.
That's a good one.
All fish are good.
Look at that fish. That's a big rainbow.
Right in the mouth here, huh?
Check it out. The grandpa caught it.
Yep. We get another one now.
Okay.
You got a de-hooker?
I do, but you did so good it's in the corner of his mouth. Where'd those pliers go that we were using?
They're on my line up on top of it.
Oh, yeah. That hook is right in the corner of his mouth. You know, I have a towel if you want.
Oh, that's a good eater.
The hook is right here.
Yeah. Those little hooks. The smaller they are. You get that gill right with it.
There we go. Okay.
I'll trade you.
Okay, go ahead and leave him in there. Pull your line out.
Yeah.
And keep him.
You can have him. You're smoking as you do.
Yeah. I'll put him on the stringer.
That wasn't out very fast.
It wasn't? Look at that fish. Look at that fish. Nice one. Okay, so I've cut into the fish just to expose more of the meat. The thick meat takes a little longer to cook, so I like to cut on there on both sides. You can kind of see that. So what I do is I just take some, this is just some seasoning that I put on, try to get in everywhere. I'll also put some butter in here in a moment, but I put this on and I let it sit with the seasoning for a short time. And then after this sits for about, I don't know, 10-15 minutes with the seasoning, I'll put butter inside the fish and in these cuts. And then I cook it 375 in the oven for about 10 minutes on each side. Excuse me, yeah, 10 minutes on each side, or you can just do it for 20 minutes total. And then I'll show it to you when it comes out. Okay, so now I'm just going to take some butter and cut it. Sorry about the dogs. Cut it and put butter in these cracks here, or in the cuts, I should say. Everything's better with butter. Load it up good. Then I put that on the tinfoil in a glass pan to bake. A little more butter. Okay. And there we have it. As long as it's flaking,
GoPro?
flakes right off, it is ready. Looks and smells delicious.